Hey there, and welcome to another Scalyr tech tutorial. My name is Joel Mora, and I'm a TAM at Scalyr, and I'm excited to be here for another tech talk. Today we are going to be learning about one of the most common container orchestrators, ECS. Scalyr has long supported ECS with EC2 compute, but we recently launched support for Fargate. So if you're looking to maximize your compute resources by utilizing more modern and less expensive infrastructure with Fargate, you can still utilize Scalyr to stream and aggregate your data from all of your different containers and sources easily. So with that, let's get right into a demo. So this is a sample task definition, and let's break it down into its individual components. So first of all, we're going to define Fargate for the compatibilities. And then for the container definitions, we can have n number of containers, but the important piece, especially the Scalyr piece, is this Scalyr fluentd configuration here. So if you configure this and you configure the FireLens piece, then that's really all you need in terms of getting logs into Scalyr. The next piece that we have is the Nginx container in this case. So you're going to add your fluentd configuration here, and the only two required pieces are the type and then the API key. But there are some other options that you have, and if you read the supplementary documentation, you'll be able to see some of the different things that you can add. And then here, this is more of the role-based stuff. So a couple of things. The log configuration piece is completely optional here. So this would be useful if you're having an issue getting this to work, then you can look at the AWS logs to see what's going on. And then the other piece, this log configuration piece, this piece is important, and that connects to the FireLens configuration there. So that's what we're going to be setting up. Now let's go ahead and do it. And here we go. Let's start off with a cluster. So let's just create a Fargate cluster. Next, give it a name. All right. We'll view our cluster, and then we're going to move into task definitions. We're going to create a new task definition, Fargate. And then you can skip through all of this and just configure via JSON. So we're going to configure the JSON, and I'm just going to paste what we have from our documentation. And then we'll configure this. So the first part that we talked about is here. And the first thing we'll do is we can actually just delete these. If you could keep it if you want. Just make sure to create the proper log groups if you're going to keep it. And the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to add a Docker image here. So in this case, we're just going to use Nginx. And then we'll give the app a name. And then log configuration. All of this is good. There's a couple of things we can do. So first of all, we'll add the API key, which we can just go to scalyr.com/keys, or you can go to API keys here. And then we're going to add a write key. And we're going to add one more configuration option here, and that's to assign this a parser. And if you look at the traditional fluentd documentation, you'll be able to see how these work. And then we just need to format it to follow a string here. So we're formatting this object as a string. And then we're going to add our role. So what you're really going to do is just add your account ID where it says account ID there. The assumption here is that you do have a ECS task IAM role. If you do not, there's some very simple AWS documentation to do so. And that should be all we need. Now we can see the two containers that we configured. We'll give this a name. View task definition. Okay, so now let's move back to our cluster. Now we're going to create that task that we just did. So demo Scalyr task definition. one task for this test. Add a security group if you want. Create service. View service. View events. We can see that this task has started. Now we can see our two containers that we just created. Okay, they're running. The next thing that we're going to do is take a look at the public IP address just to make sure the Nginx container is running. Looks like we're good. Now if we move back to our log overview page, we should see a new server host called FluentDhost, or whatever you named it. And here you go. We can see the logs that we just created. And these are the access logs that we just created when we visited the page there. You could also set the parser to access log, which is the default access log parser, and it should just parse these right out. But that is how you set up ECS Fargate. If there are any questions, feel free to reach out to me at jmora@scalyr.com or reach out to support@scalyr.com, and we'd be happy to answer your questions. Thank you.